Hi, thanks for watching. Angelo, Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty. And before I get into the June 2021 Cherrybrook property market update, I just want a quick message out there just to make sure you're all safe and healthy and doing okay as a result of this recent COVID lockdown. So just hang in there. For those of you that may be doing it a little tougher than what you normally would, it'll be over before you know it, and I'm sure you'll come out stronger on the other end. So look, I'll get into the data, into the statistics, and excuse me if I go backwards and forwards. I've got my notes here, so there's in quite a few numbers and figures I've put down, so I don't want to give inaccurate data and then I've got to edit it again in the YouTube video in the link. So I'll try and get it. So if I'm referring, apologies in advance. So just to give you an idea, so for the month of June, there were 5 registered home sales. And again, this is just recording homes. I'm not recording duplexes, villas, townhouses, anything of the sort, because it distorts the data. The median price amongst those five registered home sales is $2,001,000. The highest sale recorded was $2.4 million, and the average days on market was sitting at 18. Now, if we compare this to June 2020, there were 14 homes that had sold. The median price amongst those homes was $1,631,750 to be exact, and the highest sale was sitting at 1.9, and the average days on market amongst those homes, the average there was 38. So now I'll get straight into the actual auction clearance figures for Cherrybrook specifically. So for the month of June, there were 12 registered home auctions. As a result of that, 5 had sold at auction, 3 had sold prior, and 4 had passed in. So the actual auction clearance rate, so auctions that had sold on the day, was at 42%. But if you include the ones that had sold prior, as well as the auctions that had sold on the day, that came in at 67%. So the actual auction clearance rates are down 8% from last month, and collectively between the ones that had sold prior and had sold at auction are down 21% from last month. So the median price does remain relatively consistent. It's only $4,000 down from where it was last month. It was sitting at $2,005,000, currently sitting at $2,001,000. Now, stock levels do remain incredibly low at the moment. There's only 12 properties listed for sale in Cherrybrook. And again, just to reiterate, talking specifically homes, I'm not talking land, townhouses, villas, anything of the sort. And obviously the day I'm recording this video is Friday the 2nd of July. Now, just to put in perspective, when I did the May 21 property market video and when I recorded that, there were only 7 homes listed for sale. So as you can see, sitting at sort of 12 now and the 7 before, stock levels have remained consistently low in between. So I guess there's no denying, and I guess contrary to what a lot of the media is reporting at the moment, with the heat still in the market, you can clearly see that the heat has it's come off the boil, right? Now with those 5 registered home sales, stock levels remain low. And I guess just to sort of break down the cooling of market conditions, and I guess, because nobody knows what's going to happen as a result after this lockdown, I'll get, towards the end of the video, I'll talk about the 2 possible scenarios that will likely play out. But just for the moment, just to sort of give those of you that aren't too familiar a bit of background on Cherrybrook, right? And I have got I've got a graph that I've put together here and sort of outlines everything for you. If you want a copy, let me know and I'll happily email it across to you. But just to give you a breakdown, right? Cherrybrook, so if you look at the past 17 years, there's been a collective, so the property market here in Cherrybrook has grown 102%. So if you average it out, that's 6% per annum. I'm not including the 2021 figures because that's not yet finalized, but currently it's sitting up at 21%. So it's definitely going to record a surplus again this year. And I guess the other thing, so if we look at the demographic of Cherrybrook, it was a suburb established in the early 80s, so a lot of homeowners that live here, they don't have that mortgage stress, right? So there's no pressure to sell when times are tough. This is why they'll sit back and wait and only sell if they need to or sense an opportunity, okay? So to put that into perspective, if we look at the 2018 to 2019 correction, which took place across the board, not just Cherrybrook, Cherrybrook took the blow quite well, right? So it only corrected 6.6%, and as a result, when 2020 came in, it had recorded price growth of 5.6. So it almost, in 1 year, it nullified a 2-year correction. Okay, and when we say a 2-year correction, you've got to remember that the period before that had seen substantial growth, right? That was the boom period. So another thing to take note is in 2018, Cherrybrook had recorded the lowest sales volumes that, I guess the data that I track back here, which goes back to 18 years, lowest sales volumes ever recorded. So only 134 home sales in Cherrybrook in a market that's correcting. So that clearly shows you there's no pressure or financial strain for those to ease. So just rewinding, and I'll sort of elaborate on that and what a lot of homeowners were doing that were looking to sell at the time. Again, it's all relative. You know, it wasn't just Cherrybrook that was correcting, everywhere else was. But this had given a lot of the people that lived here an opportunity to change their lifestyle and, you know, sort of upgrade, if you will, with respect to our beautiful suburb Cherrybrook, looking at other, you know, nice suburbs in the northern beaches, because an opportunity presented itself. So just going back to the stats here, what was happening as well, so I'll give you a couple of suburbs which people were looking at in Cherrybrook at the time. Cromer being one of those suburbs, right? So if we look at the 2018 to 2019 period, they had corrected 7.1%, and they finished the 2019 period with a median price of 1.5. Okay, so just to put that in perspective, the median price in Cherrybrook at the end of 2019 had finished at 145. So again, it had sort of, that correction provided an opportunity where that gap was bridged, right? So, you know, and then fast forward to 2020, the Cromer market was up 12.1%. So those in Cherrybrook that went and bought in Cromer had made a 5% gain as a result. So obviously bought at a good time. Now, if we go to another one, was French's Forest, which had corrected 10.2% over that 2018-2019 period. The median price there was sitting at $1,477,500 to be exact, keeping in mind that Cherrybrook was 1.45 at the end of the 2019 period. So as a result, at the end of 2020, the market there was up 9.5%. So if you look at the cumulative total, it was only 0.7% down. So I guess the bottom line is what had happened as a result, those in Cherrybrook that, and I'm not talking all the 134 people that had sold. I know there were people that had sort of gone to Gosford. There were a whole heap of other areas, but there was a fair portion that were looking at northern beaches, but what they were looking at was enhancing their changeover price. And markets such as these provide the perfect opportunity to do so, you know, depending on where you're looking to go. So again, this is why the Cherrybrook property market does remain, sorry, I'll just get my notes again, does remain quite resilient, and that's back to the fact that there isn't that financial pressure or hardship to sell. Now, from a buyer's perspective, I mean, obviously when you're buying, the notion is you want to buy for as cheap as possible. But I think what you've got to understand is you've got to look for gaps, right, and opportunities to buy, and depending on your circumstances. So, you know, keeping historical data, and, you know, if you look at the corrections in Cherrybrook, aside from the 2018 to 2019 correction, the last time, pardon me, the Cherrybrook recorded a property correction was back in, where were we? 2005, and that was 3.2%, right? So it's been in the green zone ever since, apart from the 2018, 2019. And even that correction was only sitting at 6.6%. So if you look at neighbouring suburbs, even if you look at, and don't take my word for it, look at the data and research yourself, you find that suburbs such as Castle Hill, neighbouring suburb there, that was sitting at around a 10 to 12% correction over that period. Pardon me. West Pennant Hills, I think we're sitting at around a similar correction. I think it was 6.7% and 7.2%, so roughly 14% over that period. So as you can see, the Cherrybrook cushions the blow. But in saying that, with the other two suburbs as well, they had come back strong. So the 2020, the year 2020, they had come back. I think Cherrybrook was down 1%. I think Castle Hill had come back plus 1%, and West Pennant Hills plus 2 or 3%. So, sorry, I've been talking too much. So as a result, you can see that the suburbs in and around here, there's no, they maintain their worth. So I guess what I'm getting at, excuse if I've gone on too much, because I don't really go off notes, it's just what's sort of coming up in here. Essentially, you want to look for when there's an opportunity, so to hop in and there's not much in the shape of competition, right? And it's moments like these where, if I'm looking to buy, this is where I'm coming in, because that the competition isn't as ferocious, it's not as fierce. How long that lasts, nobody knows. But there's sort of the opportunities you look for. And look, the market could go down 6-7% this financial year or whatever it may be. But when it comes, if you're looking for a long-term perspective and looking at the historical data, it's not going to take long for that to bounce back. So I guess it's just making sure that you can afford the repayments and you're not putting yourself under financial stress. That's the bottom line. So I guess, post-lockdown, what I said earlier, what do I think is going to happen as a result of post-lockdown, and what are the two likely scenarios? Well, this is pretty much it. There's going to be scenario one, where the market will continue to remain stable, in which case supply will meet demand. So they'll be on a level playing field. And exactly as I explained with the 2018 to 2019 movement, where a lot of homeowners here were looking to really enhance their changeover price. It wasn't the financial stress or anything of the sort. They'll be looking for buying opportunities elsewhere. So there's going to be that likely possible scenario. The other scenario, which obviously could play out, we could see a mini boom after this all unfolds, right? So, as a result, the stock levels remain consistently low. We start to see an influx of buyers that start to come in again, and sort of snap up whatever they can get their hands on. So I guess, common sense, it's really going to be one or two things. And if you, just going back to my notes, I guess, from a personal observation, speaking to a lot of you out there, both homeowners and home buyers, there definitely doesn't seem to be financial strain amongst you all. You all seem to be doing quite well throughout this period. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a mini boom. And when I say mini boom, I don't expect prices to rise another 10-15%. It's more just making up for the lost time in the month of the June period, which was quite quiet. So things perhaps coming back and seeing a bit of forward momentum there, but I wouldn't expect that to last for too long either. So again, throughout this COVID period, and until there's more clarity around vaccinations or whatever it may be, I'm not going to get into this. This is not my domain, but I guess the point I'm making is, until there's more clarity around lockdowns and what people can do, and when there's they know exactly where they stand, we're going to have these up and down movements. We're going to see like a yo-yo, I guess you could say. So that pretty much wraps it up, guys. I've covered what I've needed to say, and just looking at, I've gone 15 minutes here, and I'm very sorry. I hope a lot of you haven't tuned out. If you have, I completely understand. But again, thanks for watching. Angelo Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty. If there's anything I haven't covered, or something you want more clarity on, or not sure, or just want to bounce some ideas, you're welcome to call me. Yes, our office is still open in full compliance with COVID laws. So if you do enter, please make sure you've got a face mask prior to entry and scan the QR code. We politely ask you do that. But yeah, if you want to give us a call, it's 0294810999. Email me on info@lambrosrealty.com.au, and look, I would say politely refrain from entering the office unless it's an emergency and need to basis. So let's just keep it on sort of phone and email contact for now. And like I said, if you want a copy of the Cherrybrook statistic analysis, the report here, just another thing, let me know. And thanks for watching, and I hope I haven't put you to sleep. See ya.